Alright, welcome back everyone. It's time for another sketchbook tour. This is the Slowly sketchbook. There's my rendition of Anne Margaret up the front. If you know Anne Margaret. And it was started 6/22/2023. Not a super serious sketchbook, but it was in all in color. This is when I started doing stuff with paints, and I already had the gel crayons, and I was learning those as well. So everything in here, or almost everything in here, is in color. I even tried spray painting some of the pages black. It didn't work out that well, all things considered. But here's a couple of things. And then this is probably not too impressive. This is from when I was doing a Domestica course about dynamic figure drawing. And here's where things kind of got interesting. I reconstituted my hemi-gouache, and I was thinking that this is really thin paper. It's like 100 GSM, or it might be 110. But it's real thin paper. I don't know if you can see it. It's definitely not watercolor paper, right? But I reconstituted my hemi-gouache, and I was able to use it, and I did a couple of paintings with it. So that's hemi-gouache. I don't know if I can zoom in. Right there, that's a hemi-gouache painting right there. And they're really pretty small. But there's no bleeding or anything like that. This is also hemi-gouache right here. There's no bleeding or anything. That was from the Domestica course. And not a whole lot of wrinkling. I mean, it's not I guess what I'm saying is there's not as much buckling as I thought there would be. A little bit of buckling. This is hemi-gouache too. Well, this is colored pencil, and this is where I kind of learned a couple of lessons about colored pencil. This is actually the first colored pencil thing I've done in like several years, and I'm not very good at colored pencil. But the only thing I don't like about it is the edges. I think I did okay with the blending. I've never been good at blending stuff. And you can see, I'm getting real close in there. And I did the white pencil burnishing over the top method. And this is a white gel pen for the stars. And I like it, except I think, of course, the white pencil sort of washes everything out. So I had to think of another way to do it. So after some research, I figured out how to use... Why is this so bright? Maybe that's better. After some research, maybe it's not better. With no lights whatsoever. Wait, this is no lights whatsoever. I don't know if that's better or not. Let's turn a light on. After some research, I figured out that there's a way to do it without doing the white burnishing. So I don't know if I can get in real close. I am using Gamsol and one of those tortillons, those paper burnisher, little paper stumps, to do stuff. And that seems to work out okay. And then I made a conscious effort to try and square off the edges this time. And, I'd read about scumbling, so I was trying to, maybe put some darker outlines and things in there. This is more from Domestica. This is also gel crayon. And it's looking at some cutesy stuff that I found on Pinterest. And Dee Dee already mentioned, yeah, the kitschy books that I found. I've got a couple of art reference books that are just full of kind of like the 70s kitsch stuff, like Cupid dolls and kitties and bunnies and stuff like that. I thought that was funny. This is a colored pencil again. And I like this one, except I don't like that I wasn't able to get rid of my pencil lines like when I was laying it down. So if I'd really thought this through, I would have used a maybe another colored pencil when I was putting it down there. This is Hemi Gouache. I was messing around with the concept of underpainting, and I think I did this with an orange or no pink underpainting, but then I put this light yellow green over it, and it came out this really interesting orange color that I really like. So I was kind of trying to figure out some gouache techniques here. This is a colored pencil. And you can tell I'm still trying to figure out edges. And this is, I don't know. I keep getting this weird glare. If I put it over here, maybe. But one of the interesting things here is I was using kind of like, you know, I did the blending kind of in a lower layer, and then I would kind of go over the top with darker color. And I liked how that turned out. And I did a night sky, which is the same technique as the galaxy saw you earlier, but I didn't burnish it with white this time, and I like the effect way better. I also liked where we faded it into kind of a blue down here. This is gouache again. This is more underpainting. This is really, everything is done the same. The drawings were close to the same. They weren't exactly the same because I mean I just did them from imagination. But this one has a blue underpainting and this one has a red underpainting, and you can see how it affects the color as it comes, the layer that goes over the top. So the red definitely kind of comes through, and you may not notice the blue coming through here, but it is, you know, because the crystals themselves are blue. The red definitely made the shadowy areas darker as well. This is a colored pencil, the Winsome Wasp. Those are my 3 colors that I used. This is colored pencil. This is really cool, and I'll show you which ones I have. This is I have Castle Arts crayon pastel tint pencils. They're regular colored pencils, but they come in sort of the lighter shades, the pastel shades, and it's a set of 48. My other set is the Castle regular set, which is right here. Let me show you. And that's the one with 72 colors. So I guess altogether, if I would add them all together, I would have, I don't know, 110, 120 colors. But these are like the low end of the kind of the softy colored pencils, and they work great. I really like these. I'm going to stick with Castle for a while. They cost about, like, it's ridiculous. It's like about less than half of the Prismacolors. And they work pretty nice. So this was a galaxy type deal. Once again, I'm sticking to kind of a square idea here. And then I figured out washi tape. So I did this one with, I did this one on stream with, and Alex 70 Art noticed. And this is with some colored pencils I got during the lockdown. They're called Koh-i-Noor Magic pencils. And they're very weird. They're the kind of thing that I think I would have liked as a little kid, because they're each one is several colors kind of mixed together. So instead of like a yellow one, you'll get yellow, brown, and white in one crayon, one pencil, and instead of like brown, you'll get brown, blue, and gray, you know, all in one. And you know, when you texture with it, you know, you get this really nuanced looking background. And then other than that, they work great. I mean, they're really nice. These are the colors I had, which was 3, 22, 21, and 23. I usually do like a little swatch on the opposite page. This is Hemi Gouache as well. At this point, I figured out how to do edges using washi tape, and washi tape is super cheap. It's amazingly cheap, and if you don't think you want to do cutesy washi tape, you could just get plain washi tape. There's some gray, you know, or blue-gray. You put it down, and I use it for colored pencil and gouache and other stuff, and it gives you this really great edging on the lines. So pretty cool. This is another Hemi Gouache one, and it's just a pattern. There's a little spray of this kind of golden metallic watercolor that I had in a set of like Gansai Tanbi watercolors. The Gansai Tanbi watercolors, they're not really watercolors necessarily. I don't know what they are. They're traditional Japanese watercolors, but I mean, there's white in there. There's metallics. I'm not sure that they use the typical binders that watercolors use, which is gum arabic. Some of them are transparent, some of them aren't. This is another hemi gouache right here. I think I did this one on one of the drive-in Saturdays. And then pretty much done for imagination. Then these toy dinosaurs that I did, these are both colored pencil. And with washi tape. I did the washi tape edges, and you pull the washi tape up and you get this beautiful edge. I think my favorite thing about this is the edge. And then if you look really close, you can see, whoops, this is where I figure out the colors. And so I don't, I literally take the colors out, put them aside, and then I mark them on there so I know which numbers are which. Now I do happen to go over these with a black marker. Specifically, I use a Stabilo 88. This is great. It goes right over the colored pencil really nicely. And then I usually do kind of a little white outline as well. This is from a Domestika course. This is the end. This is my final project for the dynamic perspective one, or dynamic pose. I think it's dynamic perspective or pose. I don't know. Pretty cool. I mean, you can see her. A lot of fun. This is oil pastel. So I got really interested in doing pastels from when I was trying to figure out my gouache stuff and figure out my colored pencil stuff. I kept running across the Karen Margulis channel, and she does not oil pastels. She does soft pastels. And then I also ran across I think it's called Monet Cafe. It's the same deal. And I thought, oh, and there was a big sale over at Hobby Lobby. So I went down there and I got what I thought were soft pastels. But then by the time I got home, I looked at it, it was oil pastels. And I thought, oh, this isn't what I want. So then I thought, okay, I'll just play with them anyways. And actually, I quite enjoy the oil pastels a lot. There was something behind here. There was something from another class. And I just covered it with oil pastel. The opacity is just perfect. Like it, if there's something that you don't like, you could just opacity it right over it, right on the top. There's my color swatches right there. So this is just some clouds. This is also oil pastel. And, I can't paint photorealistically or anything like that, but I can certainly understand things like foreground, background, and midground, and to a degree light and shadow just from my comic stuff. So this ended up being like a lot of fun to do, and looks great. My favorite part of this, once again, square edges. Look at those edges. It looks like it came off a printer. Here's another one. This is oil pastel. By the way, these go super quick. It's like they're super duper quick. You can blend it with your finger. I blend it with finger, then I usually go in with maybe sometimes a little bit of the Gamsol, we might know as odorless mineral spirits. This is the stuff I use right here. You just put a little bit on a paper towel or on one of those tortillons, and you can just really get some amazing blending effects going. You got to be real kind of Johnny on the spot with your not mixing your colors unless you intend. Everything has to be done with intention, and you limit your palettes. Otherwise, you end up with a real mess. I did this one over at the comics Discord just for fun, showing somebody, and it went like this whole thing took like 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, so I got all these colors out here. They were gonna do the Gamsol, and I just swipe, and it was done. Like I put in the clouds afterwards, and that was it. It was real quick. I did this kind of like a lens flare looking thing. It's just oil pastel. I mean, it's quick, it's very colorful, and it's a lot of fun to do. Once again, I got amazing edges. Okay, there we go. This is actually colored pencil, and there's two of them. This is when I first started, I think, No, this isn't. This is. I was thinking there's one where I start to mix the pastel set and the regular set of my colored pencils. This is just the regular set, the 72 color set, and these are just figures I drew from imagination and kind of colored them in as if they were small. And they're about sketch card sized. I mean, I could probably do a sketch card of about that size. This is a sketch card right here, so I probably could have fit the exact figure, right on there. So I might try doing that with colored pencil at some future point. Now that I feel like I kind of know what I'm doing with colored pencil, I'm close. This is colored pencil again. This is where I started mixing up the sets. So this one has where you see where it says PT here. This is the pastel tint ones. This is Frankenstein, obviously, and then like a kind of a galaxy one. I managed to keep it a lot darker than the other one. This one is, once again, I don't know if it looks good, but this one is oil pastel. And whoops, there it is. I see what the problem is. My little webcam is moving around. Okay. And once again, you get this really lush color mix in the sky. Oil pastels are a lot of fun. They're not expensive either. They're usually pretty cheap. This is oil pastel, not very good. So it's not an automatic hit every time. Look, I can kind of still blend it. So I'm blending out some of this sky here. My set has a white in it. I think it was $11 for the set. And this is oil pastel, but with some ink over the top. Although the ink did not go on very strongly. So I did kind of like a gradient wash, and then I was trying to do this stuff with bubbles. Didn't do great. But the thing with when you're doing a sketchbook tour, you take the bad with the good, right? Not everything's going to be perfect. Not everything's going to be the big hit that you're hoping for. This is colored pencil again, and look at I got the edges. Did the same thing with the washi tape. It's a great trick. I highly recommend it. This is more like the dragon one I did before. I did kind of the color washes in colored pencil, and then I went over and I did my figures in darker colored pencil, and there's texture that's kind of done in colored pencil. Then there's some ink that's on there as well. There's a monster, and there's some cutesy stuff. This is the pastel tint set, and I wasn't going too hard. Like, I did not even use the Gamsol here. I was just kind of goofing around with the lightest of colors. So I've got the lightest pinks, the lightest blues. There's like a light brown in there on this critter. And then this is more gouache. I did this one yesterday. This is probably my least favorite of the paintings in here, but I don't know if it's really showing up how when it's wetter it looks so much nicer. As gouache dries, it gets darker. The lighter colors get darker, the darker colors tend to get lighter, so you don't get the kind of vibrance unless you really know what you're doing, and I obviously don't, but I really enjoyed making this one. Anyway, and that is it. So this one ended yesterday at 7/8/2023. Probably at around, I believe it was around 7:30 p.m. last night. So I started another sketchbook. Now, I don't know if I decided to do a different kind of sketchbook. I'm looking for it now, and have I misplaced it? This is how I end up with multiple sketchbooks in play. Oh, here we go. I do have another sketchbook that I've actually started, and I started it before yesterday, but I haven't done much with it. This one was started 6/8, so literally a month ago, but it only has 1, 2, 3, 4. It's got like a lot of kind of trashy stuff, and I'm working on hands right now. Look, the cover just came off. It's a spiral cover, so I can fix it. So there'll be more stuff coming soon. Maybe not too soon. This is a bigger sketchbook, which means we could be waiting months, which is fine. All right, please like, follow, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more sketchbook tours. There'll be comics every day, and the occasional other thing going on. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.